Hello and welcome back, everybody, to round 2 of our top 8 for the Eternal Tournament Series. Eternal Tournament Series Season 2 Invitational. There we go. That's the full sentence.
Yeah, this round we've got Unearthly on Rakano Plate against Kampfkrot on Burn Queen. A couple of more aggressive decks, so this round should be a little shorter than the last.
Yeah, we should see this match come down pretty quickly, and you can already tell the difference in pace in this game if you see all the 1, 2, and 3 drops that both of our players have in their hands.
Yeah, and Unearthly with the really pimping all premium deck, and also bringing the giant cursor meta to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the giant cursor over there. It can easily just block out a whole unit. It'll make your combat math a little bit weird if you forget to move it, as you'll pretend like units aren't on the field. But
yeah, the old 2-year-old. If I can't see you, you can't see me.
yeah, that's all I like to imagine. Unearthly plays Rakano. He just like mouses over some of his units, and he's like, I don't need these.
Back to the game at hand, though. So Kampf has the early start with a Grenadin drone, and he's going to be able to follow up with double Champion of Chaos here. So Unearthly with no other units besides this Pyro Knight and the long way off Soulfire Drake, he's kind of on the back foot here.
Yeah, he's definitely been put on the back foot here. Like, he doesn't have another unit to get down, and Kampf, on the other hand, has 2 more units and a Dark Return to get down.
Yeah, I think Unearthly has to just like take hits for another turn so that he can Hammer of Might this Pyro Knight, but that was going to put him down to 15 health already.
Yeah, he's going to be down to 15 right here, and we'll most likely see another Champion of Chaos get followed up here.
Yeah, and Unearthly can't even like block and use Finest Hour because he knows that Kampfkrot plays 4 rapid shots.
Yeah, so he's got to respect that. And what's interesting here is, like, even if Unearthly puts the hammer on this, like, I guess he has to go face here, but like, this is terrible. Like, he's taking 10 on the way back. He's staring at 5 health.
And Kampf actually blocks, which I sort of like. Like, you know that Unearthly is playing a whole bunch of Deep Forge plates, so if you can keep his board clear of units, that's always going to be very good for you.
Yeah, very true. Like, keeping the board clear is important, and we do see Kampf just go ahead and use that Dark Return to fetch back up the Champion of Chaos. And yeah, Unearthly put in a tight spot right here. Like, he finds a Valkyrie Enforcer as a 6/6, but he's at 9.
Yeah, well, the hammered up Valkyrie Enforcer does make it so that Kampf has to suicide attack units here. But I think that Kampf is fine with that. Like, if the 4/4 champion gets blocked, that still knocks Unearthly down to 3, and he's dead to any burn at that point, and Kampf's deck is packed with burn. Plus, Kampf can just attack with his 5 remaining units next turn.
Yeah, I have a feeling we'll see Kampf A space here. I don't know. Alex actually not to. I'm in agreement with you there, though. I really would have liked to see A space there and just push the 6 damage, put him on 3. You know you can burn him out with torches, and you know you've still got 5 units next turn to push through.
Yeah, well, it looks like Kampf is still going to have lethal damage here anyways.
Yeah.
And especially with this giving all those champions, well, 2 of the 3 champions deadly, so their overwhelm is guaranteed to pierce through.
Yeah, and we do see this should close the game out very easily here. I mean, Kampf has just so much damage on this board. So we will be jumping into a second game very quickly, much quicker than our last set of games. No control in this one, all aggressive.
Yeah, so let's go over the sideboard options for both players. So Unearthly is packing Assembly Line, which is generally for Queen decks, but I mean, this deck from Kampf does have Queen in it. I think you bring in Assembly Line.
Yeah, I think he's going to need the Assembly Line to block some of the smaller units. Curious to see what else will actually have Unearthly pull into his list. Like, a lot of these cards seem relatively dead for the Queen matchup.
Yeah, you probably want to trim some of the more expensive cards that aren't good at blocking, stuff like Sword of Icaria or Soulfire Drake, and then put in like Righteous Fury for health gain. Assembly Line is basically the Fire Lightning Storm, and maybe even Protect just to interact more cheaply.
Yeah, he might put in the Protects here since there are quite a few effects out of Kampf. And actually, after Kampf's sideboard, where he's going to be bringing in these Treacheries, I think that Protect gets even more valuable since you can protect yourself from the effect, can you not?
Yeah, that's very underutilized play, protecting yourself from not only obliterate but also discard effects.
Yeah, it is possible. They don't make the cut, unfortunately. The treacheries do get pulled out. Comp over here. Let's take a look at his sideboard plan. The Lethrai Falchion coming in. No surprise there.
Yeah, big health swing and an aggro mirror. Furnace Mage to take out weapons from Unearthly's side.
Yeah, Furnace Mage to go ahead and deal with Unearthly's equipment. Going to be really nice. Like being able to take down his weapons so that those the Warhammers as well as the Deep Forge plates get traded very poorly.
Yeah, he might even bring in Umbran Reaper if he thinks that it's going to turn into a matchup that's more about blocking and playing removal spells than about just recklessly racing down your opponent.
I think you bring in Umbran Reaper regardless because Umbran Reaper still is one of those cards that can help recklessly race down your opponent. Like it can just get in the way and take a unit down with it. Maybe even take like a 2-for-1, and then still get you a 5 health gain and a 5 a 5 health drain rather. Like take 5, you get 5. So
That's true. Unearthly only has 4 Valkyrie Enforcers for silence, so barring that, worst case, Umbran Reaper is still 5 cost, deal 5, gain 5, which is a perfectly serviceable card in an aggressive matchup like this.
yeah, definitely. So players just finalizing their sideboard plans really quick, trimming a couple things down. Oh yeah, yeah. This is something an Unearthly sideboard we forgot to mention that he would bring in. The Righteous Furies coming in out of the sideboard.
Yeah, if he can set up a big turn where he either has a unit buffed with a Hammer of Might or is able to Finest Hour plus Righteous Fury, then the Rakano deck can get up to 30 or 40 health very easily, and that's usually out of range of these Stone Scar decks.
Yeah, very true. Having just that life gain is very important. I mean, the Burn Queen deck, it is called Burn Queen for a reason. Like there is a lot of burn floating around in it, so making sure that you don't die to just Umbran Reapers picking you off. I think we have some Soulfire Drakes in the list, possibly. What else?
Comp doesn't have any Soulfire Drakes, but he does have 4 Obliterate, 3 Flame Blast, so there's a lot of ways to just reach over and touch somebody.
Yeah, really. Those Flame Blasts, we've seen time and time again, closing games out. Just setting up an early game plan, punching in that damage with the Burn Queen deck, and then getting a Flame Blast off towards the end for 6 or 7 damage to go ahead and finish it out.
And it looks like Unearthly is making a few last-second sideboard adjustments, bringing in a couple of Protects. So he also is afraid of all those Flame Blasts.
Yeah, definitely respecting Burn Queen's power to do just that, burn him. And not too much else to talk about in these sideboards, really. Like we've got their game plans down. We're gonna see if Unearthly can get his game back after that early beatdown from Conf. And I mean, this is exactly what the Burn Queen deck is looking to do. Like Conf played it perfectly, got a really good draw, and just ran him over in 5 or 6 turns.
Yeah, Rakano is an aggressive deck, and as such, it's not particularly well set up to play defensively. So these Queen decks can get under it, and that makes it a very difficult matchup for Rakano.
Yeah, it definitely does. And we see
But
Conf with an interesting hand here. Like lacking shadow sigils, and his 1-drops aren't great, but he is on the play, so it could be very easy for him to get a second game here.
this is a really great curve from Unearthly. If he can pick up a second Justice in the first 3 draw steps, I think he is probably favored in this game. Just a powerful parade of large units.
Yeah, very true. His hand is looking really nice. He is going to have to pick up that second Justice Sigil so he can have the influence to cast the Valkyrie Enforcer, though. Like that's going to be pretty important here. The silence on that is very usable in this matchup. Conf has a lot of units that you want to go ahead and silence, especially now that he brought in the Umbran Reapers.
So looking at Comp's hand here, Comp is well on his way towards the all premium deck as well. So maybe someday he'll be able to get a big cursor just like Unearthly.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe he'll upgrade to the big cursor once he finally has the full premium. Is that actually like?
That's a joke for the record.
Okay,
That's
okay.
due to Unearthly's settings, not due to you don't get a giant cursor if your deck is all premium.
I was about to say, man, I'm gonna go like break down my whole collection. Like, I just want a big cursor. I need to hit Unearthly up to see how I get that sweet tech.
Yeah, set it to 360 by 480 or whatever.
Yeah, interestingly enough, though, we did actually see Unearthly pitch the hand he had and go for a little bit of something different. And it does kind of pay off because he at least has the influence to play the Valkyrie Enforcer in his hand this time around.
Yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't have the influence to pump Champion of Glory's strength. And he also has two Vanquishes, which, if Kampf doesn't play some Champions of Chaos, aren't going to be very useful.
Yeah, very true. Comp has some really interesting here. Like, this is like the power of the Burn Queen deck. Like, it's so strong.
Whoa, he just Vars favored Unearthly's face instead of removing the Aegis from Crownwatch Paladin.
Yeah,
That is very aggressive.
I kind of like it actually. Like, I feel like Conf knows that most of the ways he's going to remove this Crown Watch Paladin are going to be through combat damage anyway. So I feel like he's not too worried about the Aegis itself.
Might as well get the one damage and the one health.
Yeah, exactly. And this is very interesting here. If Unearthly chooses to block this, the Rapid Shot will guarantee the kill. And we see Unearthly wisely deciding to pass there, respecting the Rapid Shot that he assumes Conf is holding.
Yeah, he's been respecting it this whole match. Like in game one, he also respected it. So a player as well versed in unit combat as Unearthly is definitely not going to fall for that.
Yes, certainly not. And because of that, Conf is having like getting this Oni Ronin in while it is putting up some damage. Unearthly has a much faster clock here.
Yeah, these endurance champion of glories are really nice because they can attack and pressure, and then also be back to block and force Kampfkro to leave open the power for combat tricks.
Yeah, and since he got a Warcry on the other one, like he's got the 4/4 now. Like these things are looking really deadly. Conf might actually have to switch to the defensive here, which is not something his deck is very well suited to do.
Well, and like rapid shot is really bad on defense, and uh, defense against the quick draw of champion of glory is also really bad. So even if he wanted to, I don't think that Kampf can switch into the defensive mode.
Yeah, very true. And we do see he still tries to get in with the Oni Ronin, maybe trying to bait the rapid shot, but Unearthly again just saying that's fine. You can deal two. How do you answer my 9?
So Kampf is offering to trade his instigator for finest hour here, and he can re-trick with the rapid shot to force a 2 for 2 if you'd like.
Yeah, and I have to imagine he's forced to in this situation. Like even though he doesn't want to, like he can't allow himself to lose another. The the units are the only thing keeping him remotely in this game right now.
So Unearthly opts not to play his Valkyrie Enforcer instead of saving it to silence the crucial target.
Yeah, and I like that out of him. Like it's a very disciplined play. Like he's waiting for the optimal time to go ahead and fire off this silence effect when he's going to really need it for those Umbran Reapers.
Surprise Kampf didn't attack with the Bandit Queen. It can't block these quick draw champions.
Yeah, interesting. He didn't get in with any of his units there, but I guess he's holding them back on the off chance that like one of them gets buffed up with a plate or a warhammer, and he's facing down even more damage or even lethal damage.
Yeah, unfortunately for Kampf, Unearthly had the second vanquish for that war-cried Archport Instigator, so Kampf is going to be dead now.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, those games are just very quick. This is what we were talking about. Like this matchup is all about like how good your start is. You really have to hit the ground running. You need a solid turn 1 into a solid turn 2 into a solid turn 3. And if you don't have that, if you stumble at all, if you waste your early turns, you're going to get eaten alive in this matchup. And we kind of saw that a little bit out of Comp's deck there. Like he just had to spend turn 2 like Vara's favoring face, and it just didn't work out very well for him.
Yeah, both decks are very bad at playing defense, so whichever one gets put on the back foot early on turns 1, 2, and 3 is going to have a very, very long uphill battle.
Yeah. Do you see players going slightly back into sideboard for a second?
Rethinking their plans after that second game, seeing what the other person brought in.
Yeah, rethinking his plan a little bit. Comfiz decides to cut. Entirely sure what he just cut there. Cut a couple cards. slipped a couple things back in. We actually didn't see, I don't think, did we see any sideboard cards that game out of either player?
I don't believe we did. Maybe we saw like the extra sideboarded copies, but nothing that only exists in the sideboard.
Yeah, nothing new. None of those assembly lines coming out or protects or anything like that. And yeah, Conf not seeing those Umber Reapers like you'd like to.
Yeah, so Conf actually took out his Bandit Queens. They were looked pretty bad in that last game, so he took them out for more removal.
I kind of agree with that. Like that's solid. Like Comp's version of Burn Queen is so easy to convert into basically Stone Scar aggro. You can
Yeah,
take
and
Queen out. You can take Queen out and side in other cards, and it basically just becomes that Stone Scar aggro deck that everybody remembers.
yeah, so both players have the turn one Oni Ronin, but Kampf is on the play, so he gets to get the free attack, so to speak, because he gets to threaten a combat trick.
Yeah, interesting
And
considering ending turn there before getting in.
yeah, he kind of wants to be more defensive because his hand is slow with just the 4-drop Impending Doom and the well, it's going to be a 4 or 5-drop Flame Blast because he played Shadow Influence last turn.
Yeah, very true. So if you're unearthly, you're just sticking this Crown Watch Paladin, right?
Oh, definitely. And he has Torch for the Oni Ronin if Kampf doesn't attack it. Oh, Kampf luckily picks up another unit here.
Yeah, and he's going to elect now to play defensively. And this is interesting. Even though he is playing defensively and he can make these trades, I like the Mirrored Pyro Knights, by the way.
They both picked up Pyro Knights with 1 Warcry trigger.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, but like I was saying, this leaves it in favor of Unearthly. Even if Unearthly swings and Conf trades both units here, Unearthly still has both the Warcry triggers go off for him, and that favors the future cards that they're both players are going to be picking up.
Yeah, I mean, like we've been saying, whoever gets the better start and is able to be the aggressor is very favored, especially when Warcry is involved, because the mechanic only works when you're attacking.
Yeah, exactly. Like in this matchup, if you have Warcry units like the little 2/1 Oni runs, you definitely don't want to be holding them back. And Unearthly's reading that too. He looks like he's just going to go ahead and jam the units in here and say, look, if you want to trade, that's fine, but I'm going to get my Warcry triggers.
Well, and Kampf does not trade, so I'm very curious why he didn't attack with Oni Ronin last turn.
Yeah, that is an interesting call there. Like if you aren't gonna trade, why hold the units back? Like you need to force through that damage. You are playing the burn deck, and we see him this time deciding that he is going to go ahead and force those units through.
Yeah, now he's going to attack and play an Impending Doom. So Unearthly doesn't have any pump spells in his hand, so Unearthly actually won't be able to attack in this Impending Doom very well.
He won't be able to attack into it. You are correct, though. He will be able to. I mean, he can 2-for-1 himself on it essentially if he needs to get rid of it. He also has the Valkyrie Enforcer to go ahead and silence it, so he at least can provide himself an area of which he can attack. Like he can get in through the air.
Kampf opts for a Torch on the Pyro Knight instead of playing Impending Doom, and then opts not to Flame Blast. So he's playing this like really slowly and controlly almost. And I don't know if that's gonna work against Unearthly's barrage of units here.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, I don't think that game plan's gonna work out too well. It does pick up a very timely Obliterate though to handle this 5/5 Champion of Glory.
Yeah, and now he'll know that Unearthly does not have a Finest Hour, or it would obviously be played to save the champion there. So that might influence his attacking and blocking decisions in the future.
Yeah, true, and he can get the 5 in here. I mean, I guess it's true that from Comp's perspective, like it is possible that he can just put enough damage on here to Flame Blast for the win.
Yeah, so if he plays Impending Doom and attacks with it after attacking with Oni Ronin, and then draws power the next 2 turns, I suppose that would be lethal, but I don't think that you're going to survive that long.
Yeah, I think Comp was really relying on getting that Pyro Knight, like keeping it alive as a 3/2, being able to force in the extra damage with it. Because if Unearthly was at 12 this turn, this game does look a lot different. Like that 3 damage is it's more than just a little 3 damage. Like it actually is very big when you're holding burn that you can close the game out with.
All right, so Unearthly's Valkyrie Enforcer grounds the Impending Doom, but that means it also won't deal 1 damage to Kampf at the end of each turn.
Yeah, and this is an interesting trade-off, and we're gonna see Comp go ahead and like he's gonna have to try and force some units through. And yeah, now has to waste that Flame Blast on the Valkyrie Enforcer, realizing that he's not going to have a way to interact with it in the air.
Yep, and he offers the Impending Doom for a 4/4 Crown Watch Paladin trade.
Yeah, and I think this is pretty solid out of Conf. Like you're starting to get ahead on units on the board, and you've got the Pyro Knight that you can always pop the ultimate on next turn if you pick up power.
Yeah, he's happy to draw an undepleted power or any other card next turn. So it's actually looking fairly good for Conf, despite that looking bad early on, where Unearthly was getting more Warcries than him.
Yeah, it's starting to turn around ever so slightly. Like I don't think Conf is in like a commanding position. This could very easily get turned around by like a top deck plate, but
Yeah, both
currently,
players have a lot of draws that could flip this around. But I think that the game is going to be over in probably 2 turns either way.
oh, I think that torch might. I don't think it cements lethal, but it's gonna make it very difficult. I think honestly, Conf could have a space there. Yeah, I think
Uh,
if you a space there, the worst thing that happens is like the 4/4 gets left up because you know he's gonna have to block with some of the units since you're holding the torch.
yeah, true. If he A spaces there, he only really loses to a plate off the top.
And actually, I don't even think he loses the plate off the top. The way Conf would have had to have blocked, the 4/4 would have had to have been left, and there were no Warcry triggers on the top of the deck, so it still would have only been a 9/9.
Oh, there are no Warcry triggers?
Nope. The Gem Blade would have been Warcried, since Unearthly had power in play. So
Okay.
the last
Yeah,
two
I guess I
Warcry
wasn't
triggers.
keeping track of that.
Yeah. He stops attacking 2 turns ago to start playing a little more defensive against Conf. And the last thing that got Warcry triggers is this 4/4 Ground Witch Paladin.
All right, yeah. The fact that Conf was able to take out most of the Warcry triggers with the Obliterate on the Champion of Glory earlier did really negate Unearthly's early Warcry supremacy.
Yeah, Unearthly had these really solid units, but they just didn't seem to phase Conf, and it's a very interesting
Well,
throw off. Not like
he
it
burned
matters.
face so that if he drew power, he could ultimate this Pyro Knight and then still attack with it. Like so now Unearthly's at 7 instead of 10 with Conf having a torch in hand. So Unearthly has to block this Pyro Knight.
Yeah, that's fair. He is gonna have to block the Pyro Knight, and he's gonna have to trade it into the 7/7 even. Uh, he doesn't have to trade it into the 7/7, but going down to 1 isn't good. I'm really curious as to why if Conf is playing around something on Unearthly's hand, because he still isn't like ace spacing. Like this was, as far as I can tell, this was game by like almost all accounts. And even though it's not technically lethal, actually, no, it is. Yeah, if he had just hit a space, this is lethal. Like the 4/3 gets through, the 2/1 gets through, that's 6, and then the Pyro Knight rolls over the 1 overwhelm damage.
Yeah,
So
the only
assuming
thing I
on
don't think could have would be a torch, but I think you make him have it in this case.
yeah, and like even if he had the combat trick, like something like the finest hour, maybe like you might lose the Pyro Knight here, but if he had to play the finest hour here, he had to top deck another weapon or another torch or another finest hour to even have lethal on the way back. But Comp deciding to play it super safe here.
Yeah, it's not gonna punish Conf though, because there's nothing Unearthly can do to survive this turn.
Yeah, he really just unfortunately doesn't have anything he can do. And Conf recognizing that, going to go ahead and push in for the win here.
Yeah, the dynamic of when to switch from attacking to defending is so difficult in matchups like this.
Yeah, it can be very, very difficult. Uh, it can be very difficult to deal with, and we did unfortunately see Unearthly go down there. So this will be the part where he departs from the tournament. Our resident Rakano player, one of only 2 players to bring Rakano, and the only person in top 8, obviously, to be representing the deck. He actually practiced with Mathmoy, I believe was his name. That was Unearthly's training partner for this match in particular, and like it definitely helped him a lot. I think he just got unlucky towards the end of the game there. Like he top decked a couple power, and his game plan just really started to slow down. And it also got influenced by Conf just having really solid draws. Like picking up the Obliterate on time for the Champion of Glory was really big there.
Yeah, the fact that Comp's units are naturally bigger without the addition of any weapons or pump spells, such as the 5/5 Impending Doom, really was the decider there. It sort of provided card advantage of sorts just by having size advantage.
Yeah, really. He wasn't just able to push him down there. So, unfortunately, seeing Unearthly drop out, but Conf keeps on moving with the Burn Queen deck. He is now into the top 6. So 8 players have gone in for the day, and 2 have unfortunately fallen out. We will continue to eliminate the other 5 players as we proceed through the day. Next round will be up here in just a few moments, and we are going to be playing. We're going to be playing Toth 201 versus aReNGee. So we're going to see that Shimmering Combri versus Big Combri matchup. We're going to see who can take that one home.